Solving equations by cross-multiplying. This is a review of part 2. In today's lesson, students will review how to solve equations by cross-multiplying when x is in the denominator. When x is where?
In the denominator.
Thank you. So let's review. Remember, you are solving equations with division. Equations with what? And this time, instead of x being on top or in the numerator, x is going to be in the denominator. Okay, so go ahead and write when equations with division have x in the denominator. Remember, denominator is another word for the bottom of the fraction. Okay, what is another word for bottom? There are 3 steps that you have to do now. Okay. So, whenever you have an equation with fraction on the left, you need to make a fraction on the right. So, it says first what are you going to put under the number 6 to make it a fraction? You're going to put a number 1. First put a 1 under the whole number, we did. Now you have 2 fractions, right? This is asking you 48 divided by what number would give you 6. Now that you have 2 fractions, next you cross multiply. You do what? Cross multiply, okay? And you're cross multiplying because multiplication is the opposite of division. That's right. So, okay. So now we're going to cross multiply here. We're going to make the first wing of the butterfly. Remember, okay? First we're going to do 6 times x. 6 times x. Let me write a box here. Okay. So, in this box, I want you to tell me what is 6 times x. Anybody? 6 times x. It's not 6. Remember, you have Mr. 6 and Miss X. They get married. They make 6x. That is right. They make 6x. So they're just touching because they're married now. They're being multiplied. Okay, let's do the other wing of the butterfly. 48 times 1. Any number times 1 is that number multiplied by 1. Say it. Any number times 1 is that number multiplied by 1. Right? So any number times 1 is that number. What is the number? The number is 48. What is it? 48. Okay. Okay, so then you get this multiplication equation, okay? So what do you have to do now to get x by itself? It's asking what number times 6 is 48. What number times 6 is 48, okay? Last, you're going to divide both sides by the coefficient, okay? Who knows what the coefficient is in this equation? What's the coefficient? The coefficient is the number that's touching x. What's the coefficient? What are you going to divide by? Say, divide both sides by 6. Yes, that's right, by 6. Okay, last, you have to do the operations on both sides. 6 divided by 6 is 1. Okay, now you get that x equals, now we ask, what is 48 divided by 6? 48 divided by 6. Okay, so we're going to skip count by 6. We say, how do you skip count by 6? Let's say 6. Oh, got it. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. Oh, that's right. Isn't it 8? Because when 6 and 8 walk through the gate, out come 48, right? 6 times 8 is 48. So go ahead and get that down. So let's solve some equations. Yeah? No. Okay, so this says, read it with me. It says negative 54 divided by x equals 6. It's asking negative 54 divided by what number gives you a 6. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we have to make both sides look like a fraction. How do you make 6 a fraction? What do you put under it? The number 1. The number what? 1. Yeah. If you divide something by 1, that now is a fraction. Okay. Why did you do that? So that now you can cross multiply, right? So let's cross multiply. We'll make two wings of a butterfly. The first wing, hey, check this out. It's just like the last example. 6 times x. What's 6 times x? Remember, what's 6 times x? It's 6x. That's right. Good job. Okay. So 6x now equals, let's do the other wing of the butterfly. Negative 54 times 1. Any number times 1 is that number multiplied by 1. What is negative 4 times 1? Negative 54 times 1 is negative 54. Good job. Okay. So now it's asking what number times 6 is negative 54. So now we're going to divide both sides by 6. Okay, very important. 6 divided by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. You're left with x equals. Okay, you need to use Bob to show me the work when you are dividing your signs. Okay, so you have a negative 54, right? So you're going to write a negative over here. You're dividing by a positive. Okay, what is your answer going to be? It's going to be negative. Circle it and write that negative. Get that sign right, or else your answer will be wrong on your test. Okay, so you do 54 divided by 6. Again, we're saying 54 divided by 6 is 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54. Okay, so we have 5 plus 4, which is, what is it? It is 9. So x equals negative 9. Write that down. Read equation number 2 with me. It says 81 divided by x equals negative 9. Okay, what do you do first? How do you make negative 9 a fraction? What do you put under it? The number 1. That's right. Now what do? What? Cross multiply? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply negative 9 times x. Okay, negative 9 times x. What is that? Negative 9 times x is, put the negative 9 and the x together. Now they're touching because it means negative 9 times x. Okay, equals, what does it equal? Okay, let's cross multiply the other side. 81 times 1. What's 81 times 1? 81 times 1, any number times 1 is that number. It is 81. Very good. Okay, so now we have to figure out what x is. Okay, what times negative 9 will give us a positive 81. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to divide, or actually the last thing we're going to do is divide both sides by what? What are you going to divide by? You're going to divide by negative 9. So you're left with, let's see, negative 9 divided by negative 9. What do you put here? What do you put here? What is this? A 1. So x will equal, let's do our work over here with Bob. You have a positive 81. So let's start with positive, even though that's on the bottom. You're dividing by a negative, okay? What's your answer going to be? It's going to be negative, so we're going to write the negative right there. So we're going to have to skip count by 9 to get to 81. This is talking about 81 divided by 9. So skip count by 9 with me if you remember. Remember how to do this? This is 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81. Yeah? Okay, so what's that? 5 plus 4, remember from the last problem? Yes, the answer is also negative 9. Very good. Write that down. We are finally at our last example. Hallelujah! Okay, let's solve it. Read it with me. It says negative 77 divided by x equals negative 11. Okay, so it's asking what number do you have to divide by? Okay, you start with negative 77. You divide by some number. That would give you negative 11. So let's figure it out. What's the first thing you do? Make that a fraction. How do you make it a fraction? Put what under it? The number 1. That's right. See now how they're both fractions, right? They're both fractions. That's a fraction bar. Okay, now you have two equal fractions, so you can cross multiply. Pay attention, people. It's cross multiply. Say it. Cross multiply. Now say it slow. Cross multiply. Okay, ready? Okay, let's do that. Start with this x, okay? This is the x, and you have negative 11 times x. So what is negative 11 times x? Well, you're going to put negative 11 and x together because now they are touching. They are married, okay? All right, now you have next cross multiplying negative 77 times 1. Negative 77 times 1 is what? It is just that number again. It's negative 77. Very good. Okay. Now we're going to, how are we going to get x by herself? What are we going to do? What are you going to do, people? Actually, I don't want to put Bob there. I'm going to put Bob over here for this problem, okay? Don't freak out about it. Boom. Okay, you're going to divide both sides by what? You're going to divide by negative 11. Good job. Okay, divide by negative 11. So negative 11 divided by negative 11 is 1. You're left with x equals. Okay, so you have a negative 77 and a negative 11. Watch how this works. A negative divided by a negative is, what is it? It's positive. Okay, so now this is going to be positive. Let's skip count by 11. You know, right? What it is. What is it? Positive 7. That's right. Go ahead and get that down.